Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, my name is Kristina. In my videos, I talk about nursing school, a plant-based diet, and my cancer journey. In today's video, I've been getting so many requests to make a video about how to study effectively in nursing school. I'm going to show you step by step one of the methods that I use in particular that works for me. Hopefully it will work for you too, so let's get into it. Okay, so for example, I'm studying right now for my maternal exam, which is taken in my second semester. I know every school is somewhat different, so we have to take our test on this Friday, and it's a lot of information. So in the beginning I was kind of like, where do I begin? But I use the skills that I learned in first semester and I'm applying it to this semester as well. So let me show you a little bit about what I do. So first, like I said in my previous video, what I do is I have the notes either printed out like the PowerPoint slides, or I use my tablet. But for me, I have my tablet, so I'm going to use that. But either way, whichever works for you. So you have your tablet out, and then I have the book here. So, or you could even do it like the book on your tablet if you're more tech savvy. But I like to have the actual book. I like to feel the book. I'm that type of person. But so I'm looking at the book, and let's say I'm at chapter 6 right now, and I have the PowerPoint that corresponds to that material that my teacher went over in class. I took notes actively, added things that she said, and then what I do is I read the slide and then I correspond it with the book. So I find little subsections that, like, if it just has like one line listed, then I add stuff to that material. So by doing that, I'm able to extend on the slides so that if someone's like, oh, well, you didn't tell us what this means, but she's like, well, it was on the slide and it just says like one word. Well, we still are responsible to know that information, unfortunately, but it really helps just to use the book as a reference, and it's like, you know, it's like your free dictionary. Well, not free, but it's a dictionary in a way. It's a good resource, rather. So I look in the book and I take further notes, and then after I take the further notes, I take it one step further for things that I'm having trouble learning. So if I'm just like, okay, I'm looking at this material and it's way too dense and I don't know what to do. So I'm not just gonna sit there and do a crash course and memorize every little thing, because that is not gonna stick. It may stick for like a day or two, but for me personally, it doesn't stick long term. I wanna know this material a few years later down if I'm in the hospital or if I have a certain situation where I need to use this information. So what I do is I will divide a sheet of computer paper, and I don't know if you guys can see this, but basically I just make a line down this way, and I'll show you a picture too if it's hard to see, but I just make a line down here, so it's probably like 2 inches, and then the other side is just whatever is left over from you making the line, and then I put topic at the top, and genetics, genomics, genetic screening, which is the chapter name or the PowerPoint name that corresponds with it. And now to the left of that, where I had this 2-inch column, I put all the topics that are listed. So like, for example, on one of the slides it talks about genetics. So I put down genetics, and then to the right in this larger area, I put what it means. So genetics is on the left and I have it in red. And then what it means is study of a particular gene, which is listed on the right. So therefore I could just look left, right, and people might probably like, you know, how does that help? It's because you're writing it down. When you write things out, your brain sends signals to implant it in your head. Like they say that the more you write something out, the further it like sinks in. So I don't know if you remember, but when you were younger, they had you like write spelling words multiple times. It's because, you know, practice makes perfect, and when you physically write it out, it really does help instead of like just saying it out loud. That's also a good way to remember things. So like if I am trying to remember what a gene is, then I will like read this over. So I'll be like, gene, basic units of inheritance received from parents, and then I will keep saying it, gene, basic units of, and I say it like 3 times if it's something that I'm having a lot of trouble learning. Like some of these words they're not your typical verbiage that you would hear. So you really have to like change your normal words. So like, for example, I remember I didn't know what the word diaphoresis meant for the longest time, and now I know it means sweating. So those words are going to be used very, very often throughout your program. So you better learn it now, because when you're in the hospital and they're saying like, oh yes, patient's having diaphoresis, has +2 tenon reflexes, has clonus, like, you need to know what these words mean, or you cannot treat your patient properly. So I highly recommend doing this method. So when you have all your notes set up on your tablet or anything else after you go back in the textbook, you could use this as a third like way of implanting it in your head. And some people will take it even further and do like a Quizlet. I personally, I don't like using Quizlet for this sort of method because I'm already writing it down. If anything, you could do some index cards like on the ones that you're having a lot of difficulty learning. But for this sort of material, for maternal in particular, I suggest doing this method. It just breaks down the information, and instead of having 23 slides, I now have, I was actually 34 slides, and now I have 2 pages worth of notes. So I'd much rather look at this, and then with my other notes that I will have from class, because I'm going to keep doing this. I have like 5 chapters for my test. So with the other notes from my class, I'm going to continue doing this, and then I'll probably have like maybe like 8 pages of notes instead of like hundreds of slides. So for me, I'm like, oh, okay, like 8 pages I need to know. That's so much easier. And like I draw like little figurines and stuff to help, and if you can't see that, don't worry, my drawing skills aren't that great here. But it just helps me remember these words, and it helps me understand these concepts a lot easier. Some people, what they do, and this is how I learned this method, there's this guy who actually invented this like style where you have like the 2-inch margin and the summary here, what the definition is down here, and then at the bottom there would be like a summary. So what he suggested, and I'll list the information down in the comments so you don't have to worry about it, but in class basically you're writing the topic, and then you write down questions that you may have about the material or material that was like added, and at the bottom you put like a summary. So like maybe it's like answers to your questions or things you need to do to follow up on the information, or if they're like, you know, use this resource. It just helps to organize things, and that's how I originally found this method, but I kind of tweaked it to make it my own. And I think studying is just like finding your rhythm, because it's not a one-size-fits-all. So this might really help some people, while other people are like, that's not for me, and that's okay. I hope this video helps whoever needs the help. And one other thing that I highly recommend getting, and I think it's like $45, and I'll list the link in the comments below. You can get it on Amazon, but it's this book. It's the Comprehensive Review for the NCLEX RN examination by Saunders. So this book is a lifesaver. So I use this book to pass my HESI exam. It has really good questions that are really tough. So if your teachers say like, oh, we have like critical thinking and NCLEX style questions, they're most likely going to be questions like this. They're probably a little bit easier than this, or maybe equivocal, but this information is based off, if you have any books that are based off Elsevier. So if like my actual other textbooks for like my maternal class is based off Elsevier material, so like the pictures will actually match up, except the questions in this book are way harder. In my maternal book there actually isn't any questions, so it makes it even better that I get to see that information. And another great thing about this book by Saunders is that it has these things, all these concepts broken down. So like, instead of just having huge paragraphs, it's like bullet points, and it's so much easier to look at. So I'll say like high calcium diet, and then I'll say 1, 2, and 3, and it'll tell you what to focus on, it'll tell you what to look for. Like I said, there's practice questions at the back, and in between, through the material, it has these green boxes. And these green boxes are so good because they highlight the extremely important information that you need to know about the book, about the chapter. So I love it because it just breaks it down into little boxes, and it's really quick and easy to read and understand. So if you have trouble learning the actual material because you don't like the way that your textbook is written out, this is a great resource. It's also a great resource to pass your NCLEX. I've heard so many things about it on Amazon. So many people from like other YouTube channels like saying that they have passed their NCLEX just from this, or they passed their HESA using this. Like, this book always comes back to like the end result. And I think the people who actually make the HESA exams or make the other testing exams are from the makers of Elsevier, so they're the same people. I hope this video helped, and if anyone has any questions or wants a different type of video, please let me know in the comments down below. Please like this video and subscribe if you haven't already, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye!